and welcome to the 87th edition of Marex Maritime News. The headlines on Monday, the 11th of October 2021. Stakeholders must work together to achieve export target. Minister. SARC launches validation tool for shipping dangerous goods. IMO to consider development of global remote inspection guidelines. Export report on container markets. Ports play a crucial role in exports and we have to achieve the export target this fiscal. Expressed Mr. Sarbananda Sonawal, Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. He was addressing the stakeholders at a meeting, seeking their suggestions on way to improve the ports and assured them that the government will provide all support for the purpose.
The maritime sector is the backbone of international trade that encourages and support in improving countries' economy and welfare. Because the sea carries around 90% of global trade, and we also know that the maritime logistic is the most effective way to distribute raw materials and finished goods around the world. To run this maritime logistic chain, important roles are played by importers and exporters that act as an shipper or consignee, and others are the terminal operators, custom agents, banks, insurance providers, ports, transport companies, and freight forwarders. And these large number of stakeholders and the process involved makes a logistic supply system complex. And I believe that all processes and stakeholders in the maritime logistics chain need to integrate to achieve ultimate services. And also, according to me, supply chain collaboration and integration in maritime logistics is dominated by the role of relationship between stakeholders, with each capable of integrating resources in their specific areas and act as an integrator according to their goals and their needs. And as we see, the number of stakeholders and activities involved in the maritime industry, logistic industry, impacts on the length of time in handling goods. And if we talk about the issues in general, these causative factors can be classified into complex export and import regulations, third party logistics competency that are not maximal, inadequate infrastructure and transport facilities, use of technology and information systems, and insufficient maritime connectivity. I believe all these problems cannot be handled independently. Hence, it is important all stakeholders in maritime supply chain should collaborate and work together to form a collaborative supply chain management system, and they should come together to solve all these existing problems and finally to achieve export target.
Netherlands-based developer of maritime software solutions, SARC, has launched an EDI IMDG validation tool for shipping dangerous goods by sea. The validator can operate without any predefined ship geometry and is based on a schematic bay plan. This bay plan is derived from an electronic data interchange file. The tool is meant for ship owners, shipping lines, crew and port authorities, and can assist in attaining a higher standard of safety at lower effect. If a vessel sails with dangerous cargo, international rules require the load to be verified for compliance with the latest IMDG code. Each transported substance needs to be checked for conflicts with all the other transported substances, and the position of its cargo transport unit on the vessels need to be validated. During the COVID 19 pandemic, it was difficult to conduct surveys and inspections physically on board ships. As a result of social distancing requirements during the pandemic, remote surveys and inspection for the certification of materials and components have been successfully used and have proven to be a helpful alternative to on site surveys. Now, global guidelines are needed. The forthcoming IMO MSC meeting will consider the new proposal to develop guidelines on remote surveys with a view to global and uniform implementation. Now, our container market report direct from the expert.
Since the last week, there appeared to be a light at the end of the tunnel for cooling of freight levels. By cooling, I don't mean that the freight levels are dropping, but the rate at which they have been rising has now seen a drop. This is clear by looking at the transatlantic freight rates and the trans-Pacific container freight levels. The spot rate from New York to Rotterdam dropped by nearly 8% and came to stand at 1107 per FU. When, while the spot rates from Los Angeles to Shanghai dropped by 3% and came to 1404. Shanghai to New York came to 15849 per FEU. The rate for a 40-footer dropped to 8,500 from China to Los Angeles. The earlier level was 17,500, which makes it a 51% drop. After a long time, it was noticed that the rates on Shanghai Rotterdam, Rotterdam Shanghai, Shanghai Los Angeles, and Rotterdam New York were stable at the previous week's levels. After a long time, it was noticed that rates were also on course to stay high, but the rate of increase will slow down and is already doing so. We all know that the freight rate for containerized goods from North Europe to the US East Coast has been 210% higher than last year. The transatlantic average spot rates reached 5,798 per FEU on July 1 before it flattened to less than $6,000 per FEU on September 23rd. Despite falling freight rates, Trans-Pacific freight costs are still about 4 times higher than the same period last year and more than 10 times higher than pre-pandemic levels. During the last month, we heard of freight freezes, the freight rate freezing by shipping lines such as CMA, CGM, and Hapag-Lloyd. But these were not uniform and hard to comment or even make a mention of. Long-term deals are helpful as they give both shippers and shipping lines a visibility about future earnings. But such deals are not being offered by shipping lines. With long-term deals, manufacturers can easily plan their production and delivery schedules. And yes, closer home, the intra-Asia sector appears to remain steady with Nhava Sheva to Jebel Ali freight levels remaining at $1,300 per TEU. Let's hope they now start dropping.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. See you next Monday.